everybody. Welcome to Rote Reviews. I'm flying solo today because Van Sebastian has a neighborly duty he must perform. So it'll just be me today, but this is our Halloween episode. And I thought, what better way to do it than to turn to some of your friends who are doing a horror series and say, hey, let's talk about it. So we have Tim O'Leary with the cast members, some of the cast members from Demonhuntr. So Tim, hi, how's it going?
Hello. That's
so
me.
Why don't you introduce some of your cast members you have here and who they play, and then we'll play them the opening intro for the series before we talk about it.
Okay. I will start. I'm sorry. I cannot remember your name.
He's the other half of Tim Rice.
So, this is my husband, Robert Rice, who is a producer on the show, as well as playing Harold, the gay telepath who's a fake medium. And next we have Latanza Britz, who is our gloriously powerful and terrifying djinn named Yara. Then we have James Stanley, who is our uber producer who took care of, I think, 4 or 5 like major parts of the production, and starting like with, costuming, catering, planning, pre-production, post-production. James has done everything. We would be nowhere without him. Yep. Next to him, I blanked on his name again. Yeah, can't remember. Yeah, no, just kidding. Next to him is his fiance, Zach, who is, in addition to being a producer, also is a writer on the show, and is an actor on the show, and does his own stunts. Oh, and I heard you say this about James and Zach, is that they are both integral parts of the stunt coordinating team. So all of the fights and stuff, you have them to thank for, and me a little bit. And then finally, we have the beautiful Kara Mitsuko, who plays Quinn, who is a sarcastic, sardonic, stoner, private eye, ex-girlfriend of one of the main cast members who finds herself in a romantic, as Jada Pinkett Smith would say, entanglement with the character played by Latanza. I think that's it. I got everybody, right? Okay.
Excellent. Okay, so let's share with everybody the opening credits, and then we'll talk a bit about the show. Okay?
Right. Really quickly, we have to shout out the fact that the opening animated graphic is by Michael Yip, who is an incredible graphic designer, but also actually like an incredible writer out here in LA. And then the intro music was by an artist who calls himself Thorns /THORNS. You can look him up. He's really great.
Excellent. So I have to bring it up first of all. You know, Tim, what was the impetus to do a queer horror? I mean, because when people think of queer movies, you know, you think all the romance and the, you know, the horrible coming out stories and all. You know, what possessed you to say, you know, I want to do something really cool and let's do some queer horror?
I mean, it's just, they always say like make the show that you want to watch or write the book that you want to read, et cetera, et cetera. So that was really like the approach that I took with this. And 4 years ago now at this point, Rob and I had Zach and James over for a little pool party at our place, and we were just like all talking about projects that we wanted to make, and we had just come off, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, we had just come off of Moms Anonymous, is that right?
No, we
did,
we
just finished it? Yeah, so we had done another show that none of us were like in charge of, but we all worked together on it, and we just started talking about the kind of stuff that we wanted to make and the kind of stuff that we wanted to see. And I had been tinkering around with this idea of Demonhuntr, but I didn't know what to call it. And that was actually when you came up with that it should be called Demonhuntr with just the R.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like, because it's an app, like
an app, you know.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Yeah. And, you know, from there, Zach and I started hashing out the plot, and we wrote, I think, like a total of probably about 12 episodes.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that have now been whittled down to 5 because that's, you know, the reality of filmmaking, especially when you're making.
We really had to leave some babies on the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
Like
It was
angels.
Yeah.
Like William Shatner, you shoot for the stars, but get to the edge of the atmosphere.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, it was funny because most people, when they make a web series, they tend to make, like what you were talking about, Baz, a show that's like kind of a comedy, or there's a coming out or a drama, and it's all like very much like shot entirely in somebody's living room, and it feels more like kind of a parlor play. And Zach and I were like, fuck that, we're going to make Buffy, but it's going to be gay. And then you make it, and then you're like, oh, the expense of it, the cost of it is like, oh, that's why everybody, when they're working the indie scale, they make like the real, like kind of low key dramas, because that shit is expensive and that rings up real fast. But, you know, we cut enough corners that we're able to make it work financially. And also, it's just fun to have monsters, man. It's fun to have
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I have to say, the 2 demons that show up at the beginning of those opening credits, I went, who's been in my bathroom in the morning? I've woken up and looked like that, gone, whoa.
Right.
That should not be happening in real life.
Yeah.
I'll give you credit.
There you go. Yeah.
So let's hear from the cast. I mean, how many of you have actually done horror before this? Have any of you?
I had done one that was, I signed on for it to play like the nurse. And then as I'm on set, they go, we changed the whole concept. So now she's gonna crazy murder you. And so like I showed up and they were like, you're just disturbed. And so you, by her behavior, so you quit. I was like, okay, great. And they're like, nope, she's going to murder you. So that was the only horror experience I had. I have a very low terror threshold, so it worked out great because she took me. I was actually terrified. It was very dark and I don't like the dark. So
I will say though, Carrie, you were on You, which is kind of a horror show.
that is kind of horror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty scary. I mean, it's thriller, horror. I found it.
Horrific.
Yeah. Psychological thriller kind of horror.
Yeah.
I had done a feature film called Mainspring that had a horror twist to it. It was kind of sci-fi horror. It was not as organized as this one, though. So coming off of that into this.
So did you like look around and go, wow, people who really know what they're doing?
A bit. Well, it was because we were the ones who knew what we were doing. Well, we learned it.
Right.
Yeah.
But
We
we
were
on
like,
you.
wow, okay. Now I know what I want to actually happen.
Right. So, James, what about you?
I actually have never been on anything horror before. So I was like super excited to be on this.
You played one of the demons in
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, those.
I
Suicide-
think all our inner demons are coming out now. We're finding out. Oh yeah, I did do horror.
Yeah,
James and Zach Robin like zombies and like demon type like creatures, and oh my gosh, okay, that full body makeup was super hard to get off because
that was a rough one. But that was the first time that we all worked together in a stunt capacity.
Actually, yeah, it really was.
Yeah, but also the first time we worked together at all. Yeah. That was a good one, though.
Because all 3 of us were demons, and
all 4 of us.
You forget that I was there?
Right, you were the big king.
You had that chest.
You know what? My IMDb credit on that is Hero Demon.
Yeah,
which I think is really fun. Yeah, even though I was a bad guy. Yeah.
I did a horror movie called Bloodsucker Jones that you can find somewhere. It's actually really. It's a comedy, kind of in the style of like I mean, it's kind of awkward to say, but like it has that sort of like old blaxploitation like movie vibe. The lead is like he's got the big fro and he's like the lead of it. But yeah, I just had like a 2 scene character and I got torn apart by zombies, which was so much fun. Like they had practical effects and like guts and stuff like long lots of screams. It was great.
And it's a comically long sequence. It's like 4 minutes of people pulling his guts out and him screaming
and pulling out guts.
He's all, oh, you missed one there. Don't you want to
like a Family Guy
it's like a Family Guy like one. Yeah,
that's great. You like a good long comedic vivisection, you know.
Yeah, it was great.
Latanza, what about you? Have you done anything like this?
Never. I actually had just moved from the UK and been doing so much stage, a lot of period work actually. So when I saw this, I was like, "Ooh, I want to audition for that because that's something that I would like love to be in and stuff that I love to watch." So I was like, "Yeah, let's do it!" Like a gin and all the things, and I was like, "Yeah, let's go!" And then, I mean, I remember getting sent the audition and I was like, I think I sent it back within like 30 minutes. I was so excited. So yeah, that's like my experience. So I was just like gonna just dive right in.
And Latanza tricked all of us because she had like gotten off the plane from London. So she did her audition in RP, the received pronunciation, which is just this like pitch perfect British accent. And then she came in for her callback in person and she's like, "Hey, it's so great to be here, guys." And we're like, "What? Where the fuck are you from, man?"
The thing is though, I hadn't even realized that I had done it because I had just been so used to performing in RP that I just became like sort of second nature, having been over there for so long. I was like, "Oh yeah, this is what my own voice sounds like." Acting. Whoa, what? Huh?
Yeah, right.
It's amazing.
So, are any of you horror fans?
Oh, absolutely. I literally called right before this. I was just watching Scream 3. I'm rewatching the franchise. I was like, let me put this on pause and then come to this.
Yeah.
I saw Tara was about to go back into her curtains, so I think I got her reaction to it. Were you, Latenza?
I am more of like a sci-fi, so like Star Trek. I'm a huge Trekkie. Star Wars, sci-fi, fantasy is like where I live. Being scared, I'm like, hold me, don't turn off the lights.
I get it. No, I get it. During the COVID, I went full Vulcan. I didn't, do the elbow bump. I just went. That's what you're getting now. The Vulcans had it together. I got it. So. Tim, why don't you explain a little bit to viewers who may not know what this whole thing we're rambling on about is about, so that people have kind of a context to what we're talking about here.
So Demonhuntr is a digital series, which means it's a series created specifically for the web. So the episodes are shorter than what you would see on like network television or cable or streaming. They run about 10 to 15 minutes each, although I think the last one is actually going to be a little bit longer. And yeah, the plot is basically two best friends. One is gay, one is straight. They're both martial artists and also mediums, which means they can sense the presence of and communicate with demonic or supernatural entities. And rather than like hold seances or do anything out of the goodness of their heart, they instead go the capitalist route and they create an app called Demonhuntr where people hire them to come to their homes and beat the living shit out of all the monsters and creatures of darkness and everything. And because it's a show that Zach and I wanted to make, they also have a lot of sex with the monsters sometimes too.
Well,
And for like Latanza is technically one of our demons because she's a genie and she and Kara hook up by the end of their episode. Spoiler. So yeah, there's a lot of human demon fraternizing.
Right.
And a lot of actually really fucking cool fights. And we actually just saw the first 3 episodes at the Cinema Diverse Festival in Palm Springs. And it was the first time we got to see it on the big screen. And seeing the fights are sick on the big screen. It's so fun to see and so fun to watch.
I have to say also, I think a lot of our time prepping for episodes went into fight choreo. The actors came out, they like put a lot of time, a lot of effort into like making sure everything looked good, everything was safe. So like fights were really an emphasis for us.
And I mean, Tamario and Edmund, who are the 2 lead guys, I think we had 4 weeks of them just doing fight rehearsal before we did rehearsal for an actual episode. So before they did any acting, they were just in the gym learning to throw each other around and stuff. But that works really well in terms of like bonding. You get the actors to know each other well, and they really start to get along. And by the end of those 4 weeks, they were, calling each other horrible names in the way that you only do with somebody that you like. So
right.
yeah, so it was good. It was a good tactic. If we ever do another action thing, I think that's what we're going to do.
Excellent. So for each of you, what was the biggest challenge in doing this series for you? Either artistically or physically or what was the one thing that you went, wow, that really, I pushed some envelope space with that one?
That is a good question. Do you have anything?
I mean, are we talking performance-wise or just
Anything?
Yeah.
done?
Yeah, no, anything.
Because I think getting the thing done was the hardest part, because like we did raise money. We raised $30,000 through a crowdfunding campaign, and we had a ton of support and an incredible crew, an incredible cast. But it's still, at the end of the day, like it's a lot to organize, and the 4 producers, we wore a lot of hats. So
I think you and Zach and James wore the most hats.
Yeah.
Because I really was just directing.
But it's just, it's a lot to juggle. Like, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to cook the whole meal for the thing, but also I'm going to do scenes. And also, like, get into, like, the weird, like, kiss makeup.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
And then also, like, do a bunch of scenes and then cook more. And, like, James was doing, like, 8 million things. And so, like, it's just getting it all done. But at the end of the day, like, I don't know, it felt really good. Once we did it all, like it felt like such a huge accomplishment.
Piggybacking off of that, I think for me the hardest thing was kind of like the visualization of like each kind of stage. Like we came together, we had the idea, and then it was like, okay, get into writing gear, and then from there get into crowdfunding gear, and then from there, like, how do we actually make this a reality? How do we get the equipment? How do we cast the actors that we want? So it was like each stage was like a different mindset. So it was like really figuring out, because this was the first project that James and I had produced.
Yeah.
So it was really figuring out how to take off one hat and be like, okay, it's now time for the next space or the next like process.
Yeah.
In hindsight, I would say the crowdfunding was the hardest part, because that was just 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 30 days in a row.
Right.
So, I mean, really, you don't sleep. Like, you don't think about anything other than raising money. It's not fun.
The amount of exes I reached out to for money.
So what did you do when you...
Well, they have to be good for something.
Right?
How did you get them to pay?
Asked very nicely.
Right.
Sure. That's not what I heard, but that's fine.
You're all, girl, I got some pics.
$5?
$5 and I'll delete it.
So, Kara, Latanza, do either of you, what were the challenges for you in doing this?
Well, I think we all know which one was my challenge. Because I am the world's obviously greatest dancer. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It had been a while. So yeah, definitely the hardest part for me. There was a little dance, but I served face, so it's all good.
And you
Just keep him focused. Keep him focused. Right.
There was a smoke machine, and so Latanza and the 2 backup dancers were behind it. And literally at one point, like, it was in the choreography, but she like comes out of the fog serving face, just like that. Just like, oh, we're gonna use that take because that looks amazing. Yeah.
Absolutely fabulous. Kara?
I think same day actually as Latanza, because I had to act high that day, and I at that point never been high. I have since.
But yeah, I was like, I got this. We got this.
Yeah, I've smoked in them. But it was a combination of bong and state.
Yeah.
Neither of which I manipulated before, and I'm still insecure about it, and I probably will be until I see it. And even then I'll be like, oh, I've gotten so much better since then. Can I go back? But yeah, I think that was probably the most challenging day, because I was just so in my head about it, and oh, is this gonna look? I don't know. So that was. Yeah.
What I find really interesting is that, as actors and performers, when you do a project that is horror, and even if you weren't a horror fan before, do you think it helps destigmatize the terror of it because you know how it's done, you know how it's made? Or do you think that you're still lost in the horror when you watch it?
Yeah.
I got the bobblehead twins.
Yes.
I feel like watching a trailer in the movie theater, it's like, oh no,
only makes it worse because you're in it. But no, for me, it's because I'm such like a sappy watcher. Like, I give myself over to the world. I like to be, that's why we do it. I like to be immersed. I like to feel what the characters are feeling, and I like to just be in it. And so for me, no, even if I knew we were all running around that day doing crazy, I kind of, that part of like my brain kind of shuts off and I really give myself over to when I'm watching.
Oh, that's good. Okay. Yeah, because for me, it's like, you know, horror films for me are like my sick days when you're a kid, because I want to watch something where people are having a worse time than I am, you know, at that moment in time. You know? That makes me feel better, you know. So I just kind of always wondered how performers who do this kind of genre, if after a while it just becomes so second nature. It's like, oh yeah, there's the blood and guts. Oh yeah, and, you know, rather than being lost in the artistry of it. And, you know, I find it really refreshing that you guys still find it horror, you know, that it's not, you go, oh, that's where they did that. Oh, they shouldn't have done that over there. You know, they start picking it apart, you know.
I just recently watched VHS on the new VHS on Shudder, which is really fucking scary. That like, and I was just watching it, I was like, and not once, and like, you know, when horror is well done, you don't think like, oh, this is how they got that shot. Oh, this is where the SFX comes in. It's like, no. It's just scary. You're enjoying the experience. Yeah, it's immersive. So, yeah.
Excellent. So what is like the long range goal? Is this like an encapsulated series? This is one and done that you're doing it? Or do you see that this world can go somewhere else?
We'll see.
No, we're oh, sorry, Zach, you were gonna say.
Oh, no, all you.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say, we're visiting those options now. Right now, the only thing that we're really focused on is getting the first season completely done. The first 3 episodes are done. The 4th and the 5th episode are well on their way to being done. After that, man, like we would love to have a second season or maybe like a film of it, you know. But we'll see. I don't know. That depends. That depends on a lot of factors that are way above our control. So right now we're just looking to, you know.
But have you left it open-ended so you could do a second season?
Yeah.
There's so many different like twists at the end and like, you know. So
we did go the Marvel route where like we have
post credit.
Yeah, we do. We actually do have post credit scenes. Yeah. So just to keep people.
There's a couple of them too. It's like at least like 3 post credits.
Yeah, there's three. Yeah.
It's just exciting because it's like world building more, and it's just
there's like a false ending, and then there's an actual ending, and then there's 3 post credit scenes because I like to frustrate viewers. That's my favorite thing. I like to set up an expectation and not deliver. So
I did a little visit from my cat Dipper. She decided to come home and say hi.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. All right. So, I mean, what are the, as far as trying to get it out there, you're publishing it on YouTube, I'm taking it?
Damn it, Baz, you're really like hammering this home. We have news that we're sitting on and we can't talk about, so let's fucking move.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Well, you didn't send me the NDA, girl.
I'm trying to walk around that. I'm like, this is his 3rd follow-up question. He's just gonna come back to you.
We'll see.
All right. We'll have some news in a little bit, but we can't talk about it right now.
I'm excited because my mom has been spilling the beans to literally everyone at the Y and in Minnesota. That's where I'm from. And like people, like when she talks about the idea, she's like, oh my God, people are so excited to like, they're like, where can they see this? Where can they, because I just feel like a lot of people just, this is what they want to see. Give the people what they want. So
we're working on it.
We're working on it. And it is like, I did see the edits of episode 4 of Latanza and Kara's big episode. And it's just like, oh, it's so good. And I can't wait to share it with you guys. But yes, there's stuff happening behind the scenes that we will talk about at some point, but we cannot.
Well, as my follow-up to that, then, where's the best place for people to keep up with what you're doing on it?
That's a very good question that I can answer. People can go to demonhuntr.com, which is demonhuntr.com. And that is just kind of like the hub of all the new information. It also has just kind of like fun, like it has behind the scenes pictures. It has a breakdown of the who's who and the roster of characters. It has a little bit about the creative team. My favorite page on that site is it's the demonic bestiary, where it shows all of the monsters that exist in Demonhuntr world. And some of them you see in the series, and some of them actually were filmed in side projects that are kind of like part of the Demonhuntr umbrella that you'll be able to see, and we'll be able to go into a little bit more info about that later. But not now, so don't ask fast, because I know you love to ask Paul.
Okay.
Right. And then you can also go to Facebook.com/Demonhuntr Show, Twitter.com/Demonhuntr Show, and Instagram.com/Demonhuntr Series. Because maybe, I don't know, I messed up when I made that one, and now I'm committed, so I can't change it.
Did your best.
Well, we'll make sure we put all the links down, on our page for you guys. So yeah,
But
we'll
you can find them
on
all
space.
through the main hub, the Demonhuntr website. So just demonhuntr.com, and you can get everywhere else from there.
Exactly.
Excellent. Any last thoughts about the project, guys? What do you want to share? Wow, it's the quietest you all have been.
I know. I don't want to talk too much because I've been told
horror
a lot.
If you love horror, if you love queer stuff, if you love action, this is going to be the series for you.
Oh, that's a good question. Actually, how important is it to all of you that queers are represented within horror? I mean, until we had Ryan Murphy come along and do American Horror Story and queered it up, we really didn't have a lot. I mean, when Vance and I were thinking, what can we do for Halloween? We had Hellbent. We had like the few that we knew that were out there. So, I mean, how is it, that we can, how important is it for us to have that space?
Like, I will say that like the constellation of well-known queer horror projects does not have a lot of stars. So one thing that I'm always trying to do is basically bring specifically queer representation to the genres that I love so much. So horror, sci-fi, action, fantasy. And, like, I can't remember if it was with you, Baz, that I was talking about this last time, but I was talking with somebody and we were just saying that, like, queer representation is important in every genre. But horror specifically is a genre that is kind of, for the most part, untapped. And some, like, older queer horror projects they just sort of run on the campier element. They kind of, they don't take horror seriously. And obviously our show has a lot of comedy, so it's not like a bummer to watch. But it is important that you have gay people heroically fighting monsters, or heroically fighting monsters, depending on which episode it is. And so that, not kids can see it, because kids should not be watching Demonhuntr, but that people can see themselves represented. But the most part, it was important to us that we have characters that are unapologetically queer, that are queer without ever describing it. Something that Zach and I talked about pretty early on is we realized that the show takes place in a world where there are monsters and everyone knows about it. So we're already in an alternate universe. So in that alternate universe, there is no racism, there's no sexism, there's no homophobia, there's no pretty much bigotry of any kind from human to human, because they have other things to think about, which is monsters.
Or as we call it, West Hollywood, yeah.
Dude, I'm not sure when the last time
we lost Zach and James.
Oh, we lost Zach and James. Well, they weren't helping anyway. Oh, we might have to cut it. No, that was a solid joke. I don't want to cut that joke. All right.
Yeah. No, it's in. Okay. Who disconnected us?
We'll blame it on the cat.
I knew you were going to say that.
There you go.
Well, you showed yours. Let me show mine. This is Taki.
Oh, no. So cute. Oh, my God.
That's our baby girl.
Oh.
So now we've had the cats for Halloween. So we're all covered. But anyways, I just wanted to say, to have that conversation about how important it is for queers to take some of the spaces we've never been in before. And the fact that you guys allowed them to be sexual, it's really almost more affirming that, that we get to see that element within the horror space, because, as I said before, it was so cis-het normative sexualization that we never got to see any of that,
I was working on a project with a filmmaker buddy of mine, and she lives in New York. The project never actually went anywhere, but it was basically, and I'm bummed, and I'm going to give away the concept, but it was basically like an all-queer version of Mortal Kombat. And I was super stoked about it, and she's very steeped in stunt work and stuff, and we were really, it looked like we were kind of getting, momentum, and we thought we were going to be able to make it. And she brought in a producer, another woman, who was straight, and she read the script and she said, I really love it, and I love that the characters are queer. I love this queer representation, but the characters are really horny and really sexual, and I just feel like that's a negative stereotype of gay people. And for me, I'm like, well, I appreciate that you as a straight woman is telling me what is an acceptable type of gay people. But also I disagree, because a lot of times, you know, I think the bigger stereotype of gay people in most film is that they're completely neutered and that people are terrified of gay sexuality, or queer sexuality in general.
Oh, we have Vanessa.
Oh, really?
Hi, Vanessa.
Hi, I'm so sorry that I'm so very late.
That's okay. That's okay.
We were just finishing. And we also have Vanessa, Lauren Gamble, who Rob and I have been friends with for quite a long time. And Vanessa helped us in the early days of it. She was an AD. She was also a ghost woman. So there's a lot of her in episode 2. And I do mean a lot of her in episode 2. She has a very revealing negligee. And and the best part about Vanessa is I wrote a lot of parts that she was perfect for before I met her, but now that I met her, she is my ongoing muse, and I'm writing parts now specifically for her that she can fall right into.
So why don't you tell a little bit about yourself, and how you came to the project?
I'm Vanessa Lauren Gamble. I met Rob in a class, in an acting-ish class, and we got to be friends, and they were doing their raising money, extravaganza, and
Crowdfunding?
yes. And I was like, well, I was relatively still, newish in town. I'd lived here maybe a year, and I was still getting to know people. And so I was like, well, I did AD this whole web series in New York. I'm happy to AD a few for you. And so they accepted that because they're not crazy. And then, just through the acting class, they thought that I would make a really good ghost woman. Weirdly, Tim has written me perfect roles in everything he's ever written. He just hadn't met me yet. So I didn't know that I was coming, but I was. So I just fit right in. And so that's how I became involved in it. And I'm really glad I did, because these people are my best good friends now. Yeah.
Excellent. Are you a horror fan? Is it something that you really are a fan of in your own personal consumption of media?
I like horror movies when I'm with like a group of people, or I can go and hang out with people while I watch them and then hang out with them later. I don't enjoy watching like scary movies in my house. Like, I like The Addams Family. That is my favorite horror movie. I'm not wildly into it. I mean, it's fun. I used to do readings, like fun Halloween readings in New York City at this theater company that I worked for, and they were lots of fun to do. But yeah, I don't know. The second movie I ever was a horror movie, so I find them really fun to do and to like talk about. But I'm not. I need some kind of camp, or like I remember I went to see Cabin Fever, and I thought, oh, this is gonna be just so fun, and then I just left feeling like some horrible thing I had witnessed, and I was changed forever. And
the remake or the original?
The one with Ryder Strong in it.
The original.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes. Then that's the original. Yeah. Okay. Sure. There's already been a remake. Yeah. I'm old. Anyway. Yeah.
The movie that came out when James was 8 years old.
Yeah.
That one.
So I was like, 12 or something. Yeah. No, but I think they're amazing. Like, it's an amazing genre, just because like I will always remember what happened to me when I watched The Ring too. You know what I mean? It's like my boyfriend at the time and I walked into a movie theater. We were going to see like some Kevin Kline movie. I was on a Kevin Kline thing, and we got the time wrong. So we're like, oh, let's go see this stupid horror movie. Like, we'll laugh at it, it'll be funny, and we'll make out and all that stuff. And then we, like 10 minutes in, we were like, oh my God. Oh my God. And then just like silent the rest of the movie, and then silent walking to the parking lot. And he turned to me and was just like, I feel like something bad is going to happen to me now that if I watch that movie. And so, yeah,
I get it.
It's a genre that sticks with you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I think it's an awesome genre, but I'm not as like into it as these other crazy people that follow every single one. And I mean, if they're gonna go watch a horror movie, I'll go with them. And I'll do it. and then I'll come home and be afraid, turn on all my lights.
That's right. And curse them. Oh.
Every single one of them, yes.
Exactly. Why didn't you come home with me tonight? So, follow up to that, what was the challenge for you in doing Demonhuntr? Were there anything artistically that you felt you grew with, or?
Well, I was totally willing to be nude on camera. For once in my life, I was like, my body's feeling pretty good. I think I could do this. Are you sure you don't? I was wearing like this half see-through lacy thing. And I was like, Tim, I can lose the bra. Like, you won't really be able to see it. But like, because like over the years, I've been like, absolutely not. I will not do nudity. I will not do this. And then I started thinking, as I got older, like, wow, shit, I really should have done that because my body was pretty hot then. And then I could always be like, but then Tim was like, no, I don't know. I don't need, no, thanks. And I was like, wait, no, seriously? And he's like, no, we're good. Try the pants, like everything everybody else. But no, nothing was hard about it for me. It was lots of fun. Tim just kind of let me do all the fun things that I wanted to. And yeah, it was,
excellent.
What was the question? Did I have any difficulties with not?
Well, yeah. Did you feel challenged in any way in what?
Jessica, did you ever laugh in your sex scene with Travis? I feel like you did.
Yes, I did, and I'm really mad at myself because I feel like it was the first, it was the one that was the funniest, and I knew in my brain that it was so friggin' funny, but I couldn't. He did something that I just could not. I definitely broke, and I was so mad at myself because it was the funniest one, and I don't think the one we got was quite as funny, but yeah, I did break there. And then I, for some reason, with all my female rage, I found it hard to build up that scream to shoot him in the face, but I managed it. You know what I mean? I got there.
Right. As all women do. They manage.
I remember, so Vanessa has a sex scene and Travis was her scene partner. And the idea is that he's, humpty-dumpty-ing and she's just not enjoying it. But I do think that he progressively tried to make you laugh more. So by the end, he was like a donkey, yeah. He was trying to make you laugh, and he really did make you laugh on that last one. But
I've known Travis for many years, since college, which was 2 years ago. So, but so that was pretty funny. Actually, I think, the most challenging thing now that I think about it was me coming out of the bathtub. I had this fun idea. Ooh, why don't I come out of the bathtub? And you won't even see me before I creep out of it. And it was a great idea, but then I sort of regretted it because actually it was a pretty shallow tub. So actually sinking all the way down to the bottom of it in this weird position to try to come out creepily.
It looked great on camera, but I remember it was looking at the monitor when you were getting, and it was truly a foot above the ground, and that's it. And you had to squeeze your entire body into that tiny little space. I was like, Vanessa, I can see your shoulder. Vanessa, I can see the top of your head. Vanessa, I can see your knee. And you're like, fuck.
The outtakes for this have got to be spectacular.
I mean, that's indie film, man. If you have a tub that's a foot high, you can't ask, the set designer to make a different one. It's that. No, that's somebody's house and that's somebody's tub. That's what.
Well, and then stepping out of the bathtub with my eyes on Tamario and not tripping, and not trying to be sexy ghost woman.
Yeah.
Sexy, creepy, scary ghost woman.
Yes.
Right.
Imposter syndrome.
Well, see, you missed an opportunity there. Tim said, you didn't have to take your bra off when the see-through outfit. You should have just gone back to the trailer, got some granny panties and put them on and say, look even better now.
Here, Tim.
I do remember Vanessa was she was like, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Should we do a topless take even just once, just to see if we want it? And I was like, no, what? Oh God, no. Oh my God. I don't think so. Not on my watch. No, thank you, ma'am.
Well, I cried later that day, but it was fine. It's cool.
She got an effigy of Tim on the wall.
Kara, was it you? One of the, I can't remember who it was, but one of the women on set, when we cleared the set for one of the male nude scenes, pretty late in the shoot. And was it you who was out?
I think it was me. Yeah, I was like, wow, I do appreciate that. I don't know, you just don't need a lot of the women to
Yep.
Tim was like, "Oh God, no." We're good. I was like, "Great."
Even more
Ask, do you need
You
to
have, like,
take my clothes
sweater.
off? It's oh God, no.
I remember like when we started and Yaz asked me, because she had read the first 2 episodes and she was like, do I have a sex scene? Yaz is playing a character that was in a relationship with Kara. She's like, do I have a sex scene? And I was like, a female sex scene? Is that even possible? How does that even work? I don't know. So I'm kidding, by the way. Please don't feel alienated, female audience. There's a lot of stuff for you here.
He understands how hetero sex works.
The history of cinema has skewed the other way,
Right.
so we thank you.
Yes.
Yes,
We thank
exactly.
you.
Exactly.
I'm making
So you put the Daisy Dukes on the boys instead of
Oh, the boys aren't even wearing Daisy Dukes. The boys are wearing nothing. Yeah.
The straight filmmakers should really be like take note. Like when you don't act like you want the women in your film to like, hey, it's nude, they'll flock to you. Like, are you sure? Are you sure? You want it?
right.
Maybe that's the way to play it instead of being a creep.
I cleaned really well.
Hopefully this is the long con for Vanessa's full frontal nudity in the next project we do together. I've just been really putting in the time.
Well, maybe that's what you should call it. Here's Vanessa nude. Just to do a whole thing where she just walks around the whole series nude.
Listen, Amazon sells merkins, and I have ordered one, and that's all I'll say.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
What were you going to say?
I was just saying that could be your post-credit scene. That could be your fourth
Oh,
post-credit
yeah.
scene.
There you go. There you go.
At the very end, just Vanessa pulls down that negative. Like, here you go, guys.
But it's still Travis.
And then just have you, Tim, from the background go, oh, God, no.
Oh, stop it.
God, no.
Oh, no.
The light.
Can't have it better than that. All right, guys. Thanks again so much for doing this episode. We really want to do everything we can at Rote to promote what you guys are doing and get the word out there. So, from all of us at Rote, for Vance Bastian, who's not here with us, but I say it like he's gone. Like he's gone into the other life.
All right. I'm good with him being gone. And I hope you hear that, Vance. Don't edit this out, Baz. I want him to hear this.
I'll leave it in.
Yeah, no,
you know me. I'm good with anything. I'll go with it.
The drama.
Right. There'll be your second season, the Revenge of Vance. Anyways, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it. And we wish you all the best for what's coming next. That we're not talking about, that we don't know anything about. But we do wish you guys good luck with it. And we are so thrilled for your project, and we can't talk it up enough. So thanks again. Happy Halloween, everyone. Woo! And keep up with what's going on at Demonhuntr.com and get the latest lowdown on what the web series is doing next. And we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.